Hey there, welcome back to my channel, String Things by Mel. My name is Melissa. I'm a stay-at-home mom living in Vancouver, Canada, and I am back with another pattern comparison video. I am again looking at another roundup of petite knit patterns, and in today's video, I'm focusing on the Raglan sweaters. So this time around, there are fewer patterns to look at compared to the drop shoulder video that I released before this one. There is a total of 7 patterns, and I have separated them into 2 categories. The first one being super bulky, and the second one being DK weight. Now, again, as always, this is meant to be just a fun practice, looking at all the information that's publicly available on Ravelry. I am not trying to endorse Petite Knit, but nor am I trying to shame. Um, just trying to help anyone who's having any difficulty looking at patterns, trying to figure out what's different. I have a spreadsheet available. There's a link in the description to it if you want to see all the information that I have compiled off Ravelry. In that, you'll find all the information on the sizes, the finished bust circumference, the ease. It's a really nice way to just look at everything on one page and compare as well. And I do have a Ravelry bundle with all of the patterns that I am discussing today, so a link for that is also in the description. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into our first category, which is this super bulky category. Now, both patterns in this category are knit top down in the round, and that's actually the same for all of the patterns today. All of them are knit starting in the round, top down, except for one, and I'll let you know which one that is. So we have the Louisiana sweater and the marble sweater in the super bulky weight category. The Louisiana sweater was released December 2019. It features a folded collar and 1x1 rib on the sleeves and the body. There are 7 sizes offered from extra small to 3XL. The finished bust circumference range is 100 to 138 centimeters or 39.25 to 54.25 inches. The recommended positive ease is 10 to 15 centimeters or 4 to 6 inches. So for this one, the gauge is made up by holding 2 strands of 2 bulky weight yarns. The gauge is 10 stitches by 14 rows, and the suggested needles are 9 millimeters and 8 millimeters. Let's quickly move over to the marble sweater. So like the Louisiana sweater, this one is worked top down in the round and also features a folded collar. What is different with the marble sweater is that there are short rows worked to shape the neckline, no short rows in the Louisiana sweater. This one was released in 2021, and there are 9 sizes available from extra small to 5XL. The finished bust circumference range is 107 centimeters to 167 centimeters, and in inches, that's 42.25 to 65.75. The recommended ease is a positive ease, 20 centimeters or 8 inches. So the gauge for the marble sweater is very similar. It is 9 stitches by 14 rows. It does have larger suggested needles, though it's 10 millimeter needles, and 3 strands of yarn are held to make the marble sweater. And the 3 strands is not really for building up that large gauge. It's for achieving this kind of color that's happening in this one. So you have, depending on which sample you're looking at, there's one that has a little bit of speckling in it, and or you can have like a base color. So it could be a really fun pattern to play around with. Not that you can't do that with the Louisiana sweater, but I think that was a bit of a design intent for the marble sweater. So you can play with, as I said, a base color, and then you can have maybe another color to get a little bit of marling effect in there, and then perhaps a kind of tweedy or variegated yarn in there. That's in the lighter sample. And in the darker sample, there seems to be some kind of striping that's happening, which maybe there's a striping self-striping yarn worked into there. I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with the yarns that are listed for the marble sweater. So for this category, finding the difference between them is kind of easy in the sense that they have almost the same gauge. There is a construction difference that the Louisiana sweater has no short rows, whereas the marble sweater does, and they both have folded collars. So it's going to come down to whether you want those short rows or not, and if the size that you need to knit out for yourself is available on one of these patterns. So if you like less positive ease, then the Louisiana sweater may be the one that you want to pick. However, if you are on the larger end, need larger sizes, and then the marble sweater offers more sizes. Moving on to our final category, all the patterns that have a DK weight gauge. Starting from the left, we have the caramel sweater, which is followed by the Louvre sweater, the no frills sweater, the Monday sweater, and the last in this DK weight category is the October sweater. They all are either 20 or 21 stitches per 10 centimeters or 4 inches, and every single one of them is 28 rows per 10 centimeters or 4 inches. All of them use 4mm needles for the main body, and they either have a fingering plus lace to make the DK gauge or a single strand of DK. So that is all how they are very similar. And 4 out of 5 of these patterns are knit top down in the round with short rows to shape the back of the neck. The October sweater is the one that does not start in the round and has a method, a construction method, which can be referred to as the staggered start method. This is where you cast on flat. You don't have all of the front stitches cast on in the beginning, and you work your raglan increases and then later cast on stitches for the front to join in the round. This is actually my preferred method to work a raglan sweater. I find this one provides me a better fit, and I would highly recommend to go over to the Wool Needles Hands channel, Taylor over there. She has a couple of videos discussing short rows and the stagger start method. So I'll provide a description to her videos because she's done a lot of the work and research into why one may fit better over the other. So I recommend giving those a view. Let's take a look at the shape of all of these sweaters. Now, typically in my experience, the petite knit sweater patterns don't have any sort of shaping in the body. Once you separate for sleeves and you're working the body in the round, you are not increasing or decreasing to the end. So I think one can safely assume that there's no shaping in any of these. Now, I have not knit up any of these patterns. I haven't looked at the patterns. I haven't purchased any of them, so I can't confirm that. So if you have knit any of these up, please let us know in the comments if there is any shaping. But I don't think there is. It's hard to tell in the pictures, but I just wanted to know that about the body. Now, when it comes to the sleeves, this is also a little bit tricky to look at. And what I like to look at is in the elbow area. Now, again, we do have, we're fortunate enough that the same person is modeling all of these samples. So that does help with the comparison. So if we look at the elbow area of the sleeve, that can kind of give you an idea of how much ease or how large the circumference is for the sleeve. There's usually some shaping or tapering in sleeves before you get to the ribbing. The rate of that, again, don't have these patterns, so I can't comment on that. But they all appear to have a little bit of tapering. The Louvre Sweater seems to have the most ease around the elbow or in the sleeve, so that might have the widest sleeves of the 5 in this group. And then we look at the Monday sweater and the no frills. In her position where she has her elbow bent, we can see there's not a lot of fabric hanging from her elbow, so it's a kind of a relaxed fit, tapered sleeve for that one, and one could assume the same for the caramel sweater and the October sweater. Looking at the transition from the stockinette rounds to the ribbing, whether it's 1 by 1 rib or 2 by 2 rib, there doesn't seem to be any large decrease at that point. And what I mean by that, there's no big like ballooning difference in circumference from the stockinette rounds to the ribbing. It's very, seems to be very straight through. So shape-wise, it seems like all 5 sweaters lack any sort of shaping in the body, and so that's all the same across the board. And then for the sleeves, they all seem to have some sort of tapered sleeve, and the Louvre sweater is the one that stands out to me for having the widest or largest circumference sleeves based on how it looks around the elbow area. The next thing you may consider is the amount of ease or the sizing that's available on these sweaters. So from least amount of recommended positive ease to greatest, the caramel sweater has the least amount of recommended positive ease at 4 to 6 inches, and the October sweater has the greatest at 30 centimeters or 11 3/4 inches. So 10 to 15 centimeters, 4 to 6 inches is the smallest, and the greatest 30 centimeters to 11 3/4. So recommended positive ease could be one of your deciding factors. Now, sizes offered. So the caramel sweater has the least number of sizes, it has 7 sizes from extra small to 3XL. It has the least amount of recommended positive ease. So if you are on the smaller end and you're just trying to look for a pattern to fit your body, which is something I kind of do. I kind of ignore the recommended positive ease and I just look at finished measurements to help me find a sweater with low positive ease on myself. The caramel sweater offers the smallest patterns. And again, that is because of the less positive ease that's recommended. But for my fellow smaller circumference people out there, the caramel sweater has the smallest sizes available. Next in recommended positive ease is the Louvre sweater with 20 centimeters or 7 3/4 inches. This one starts at 106 centimeters or 41 3/4 inches, and the finished bust circumference, largest size, finishes at 154 centimeters or 60 3/4 inches. After that comes the no frills sweater with a finished bust circumference range of 100 centimeters to 137 centimeters or 39 1/4 to 54 inches. This one has fewer sizes like the caramel sweater. It has 7 sizes extra small to 3XL. Moving up in recommended positive ease is the Monday sweater. This one has a finished bust circumference of 105 to 166 centimeters or 41 1/4 to 65 1/4 inches. Recommended positive ease is 15 to 20 centimeters or 6 to 8 inches. And at the largest is the October sweater. It has 10 sizes, extra small to 5XL. Finished bust circumference of 111 to 177 centimeters or 43 3/4 to 69 3/4 inches. Recommended positive ease, as I said before, is 30 centimeters or 11 3/4 inches. If you're like me and sometimes just ignore the recommended positive ease and then you're just looking at what the finished circumference is, it is important to go through and look at the actual size increments for each of these patterns. I have included the actual measurements for every single size in my spreadsheet if you want to use that to decide, and also just look across how they are similar or different that way. Sometimes I find, there is recommended ease, but you may have your own preference of how much or little ease that you want. So often I find I like to have less than 8 inches of positive ease for a raglan. So even though the pattern might say recommended ease of, 10 or 11 or maybe 4 or 6, I might still want to use that pattern if there's a finished bust circumference that matches what my, preferred, my magic number, we'll call it, for a raglan sweater. So next, let's look into the collars, the necklines of these patterns. The caramel sweater has a fold over turtleneck. So this, because it starts top down in the round, you start with knitting up this turtleneck. So you kind of got to figure out how much of a fold that you want from the get-go. You're not going to come back later to pick up those stitches, so keep that in mind. And that's the same for all of these sweaters except for the October sweater. Because that one starts flat, you go back later to pick up the stitches for the collar. So fold over turtleneck for the caramel sweater, and it has 2x2 rib on the turtleneck, the sleeves, and the body. The Louvre sweater features a 1x1 rib mock neck, 1x1 rib on the sleeves and on the body. The no frills sweater has a single layer crew neck, 1x1 rib for that collar, and as well as on sleeves and on the body. The Monday sweater has a folded crew neck, so 2 layers, 1x1 on the sleeves and the body. The no frills sweater is so similar to the Monday sweater. Or I could say that the Monday sweater is so similar to the no frills sweater. So the difference between the no frills and the Monday is the collar. They have nearly the same amount of positive ease. So if you're going to spend your money on a pattern and you haven't purchased any of these patterns yet, I would say just purchase the Monday sweater because there are more sizes available in that one. And when it comes to the collar, you don't have to fold it over if you don't want it, if you want that single layer like the no frills. Or if you already have the no frills sweater pattern, then you can work the folded collar and not need to buy the Monday sweater, unless of course you need more sizes, since the no frills goes up to a 3XL only, whereas the Monday sweater goes up to 5XL. Last, we have the October sweater, which features a 2x2 rib folded collar. This one is different from the rest as the collar is worked from picked up stitches. This sweater starts by working flat, creating the neckline shape from increases, and then later casting on stitches for the front to join in the round. Something I forgot to mention in regards to the body of the October sweater is that once you hit the ribbing, you start working flat back and forth in rows to create side slits. And there you have it, guys. So what's really different about the patterns? Well, these DK weight ones anyways is the ease. So if recommended positive ease is important to you, then that is how you're going to decide between these 5 patterns. Remember, the caramel sweater has the least amount of positive ease and the October sweater has the greatest. If you really absolutely do not like short rows, then and you're okay with lots of positive ease, then the October sweater is the one that you'll want to pick. If it doesn't matter to you, the construction method, and you have it in your ability to modify the collar, then the Louvre sweater and the no frills or the Monday sweater are all very similar. They have almost the same recommended positive ease. So you could just buy one of those patterns and make any 3 of those sweaters. And that's it for today's comparison. I hope you found this information helpful. Again, all the information that I've discussed is in a spreadsheet. The link is in the description box below. Let me know if you have any questions, guys. But I will see you in the next one. Happy knitting. Bye.